Hey, what's going on? And welcome back to 10 Minute Mentor. I'm your host, Rich Perry, joined by my co-host, Ava Compton. Ava, what's going on today?
Nothing much. I'm excited to talk about some networking, though.
All right. So I know you've got a question and looks like you brought the lead in real quick. So what is your question? You fielded this question from some of your peers at school, Penn State. Shout out Penn State, Scranton. What's the question we have, Ava?
Yeah, so the first one I have is what's the best way to approach someone at a networking event?
All right. Networking events. So real quick, um, I'm in the Wilkes-Barre area. Ava, you're more in the Lackawanna County area, right? So there are a lot of really good organizations that have networking events. Little bias here, Wilkes-Barre Power. We meet monthly. I'm the president of Wilkes-Barre Power. There's also NEPA Networkers. They meet quarterly, but they also have some morning networking events as well. There's a networking group in the Hazleton area. So if you're located in Hazleton, there's also a Back Mountain networking group if you're located in the Dallas area. So if no matter who you are, there's lots of networking groups that are out there. And also too, the local colleges also have your job fairs and networking functions and things like that. So now to your question, Ava, what's the best way to approach somebody when you're going to a networking event, right? Okay. So the best thing that you can do, and this is a really good idea for people that it might be your first time attending a networking event, or maybe you're attending the networking event by yourself and maybe you only know one or two people or something like that, right? Is just to go in with the mindset of I'm just going to have conversations, okay? I'm just going to meet people. I'm going to learn about who they are and what it is that they do. There are, I think, some folks that when you first go to a networking event, you feel the need to like perform, or you feel the need to like sell yourself. You feel the need to like put on a show or a presentation of like, oh, I have to impress these people. Okay. And when you start thinking about it from that mindset, it could be stressful. It could be overwhelming. Again, if you don't know anybody, you're just thinking about things or concerning yourself with things that maybe aren't going to serve you in the moment. So you go to a networking event and you just walk up to someone and just like you were a little kid, hey, my name is Rich. My name is Ava. What is it that you do? Okay. I'm here. This is my first time. And if it is your first time, like let people know, because chances are there's other first timers there. If you go to certain networking events, like if you go to one, maybe it's hosted by a networking group like Wilkes-Barre Power, or maybe like the one of the local chambers of commerce. If you go up to one of the board members or one of the people that are there facilitating the event and let them know, hey, this is my first time, you know they'll help you out. And especially if you're going in with a purpose and you're saying, hey, I'm looking to meet someone in the marketing world, or I'm looking for an accountant, or I'm looking for, like, if you go in with that purpose and you let one of the workers know, one of the board members or one of the facilitators know, they will arrange an introduction and it makes it so much easier. But in the event that you can't grab them, like I said before, walk up to someone and just think about it from the perspective of, I'm going to have a conversation with another human being. Yeah, we're at a networking event, but you're just having a conversation with another living, breathing person. And if you go from that approach, all of a sudden it's not as stressful. Okay. Yeah, you're probably going to be talking about more professional topics, things of that nature, but that's going to lighten the burden. Then from there, it's just having a purposeful conversation with that professional. Something else I talked about recently is it's better to be interested as opposed to being interesting, in that when you're interested, you're asking a question and allowing the other person to answer it. And then you ask a follow-up question, and then a follow-up question to that. You're probing deeper. You're getting to know that person on a deeper level, versus the perspective of, I have to be interesting. I have the need to perform. I have to put on a show or impress people. And that can be exhausting to feel like that. Also, too, when you're interested in other people, you're asking questions, you're letting them do all the work. You just ask a question and then they answer it. Blah, blah, blah. Like right here, you asked a question and I'm looking at the timestamp and I've been talking for like 5 minutes, just answering this question, right? So you go to a networking event and you ask a question, say, hey, my name is Rich. My name is Ava. What is it that you do? That person might start talking and then you ask a follow-up question. Now they're talking some more, they're answering, and you haven't done a single thing, right? You're just having a conversation. You're listening. So that would be an approach. Okay. And then as you get to know more people, maybe you start saying like, hey, then you can start to be that connector for other people. And then it makes things even easier because half of your conversations might be facilitating other introductions, or people are other individuals are bringing folks over to you to have conversations. And now it's even easier because, you've done the groundwork, the foundational work before. So real quick, Ava, I'm going to throw it back at you because you recently attended one of our Wilkes-Barre Power events. How did you feel? I got a 2-part question for you. How did you feel going into the event? Kind of like a first timer. I know you attended a bunch of job fairs and stuff like that. But I think it was your first time at Wilkes-Barre Power. So like, what was it like for you being a relative newcomer to the group?
Yeah, I was definitely nervous. I brought a friend with me, so that does help sometimes. But if you do go by yourself, I kind of just go to other young professionals and introduce myself because they are in the same boat as you. So
Mhm.
that gets for really great conversation to start, and it's a good stepping stone in the event as well, connecting with other people your age and who have had the same experiences as you.
Very cool. And you had that friend, you had that networking buddy, so that made it easier. Did you have any like good conversations? And if so, like, do you remember like kind of like some of the things that you talked about with some of the more seasoned networkers there? You don't need to tell the exact story, but like, what were some of the questions you were asking, or what were some of the conversations that you were having with these folks?
Yeah, so I'm currently a Penn State student, so there were a few Penn Staters in the crowd, especially professors. So I actually met a professor from the Wilkes-Barre campus, even though I'm from Scranton. So that was a great opportunity I had. And she kind of explained to me different opportunities in the communications world, as she did do that in her profession besides being a professor. So there was definitely some career talk going on, which was really appreciated.
Very cool. Very cool. And did you find it to be an enriching experience? Did you get some value out of having those conversations with that professor, or some of the other professionals that you had conversations with?
Yeah, besides the free pizza, that was a really good added bonus. I did enjoy the conversations that I had. I think it was very enlightening, and I did learn a lot about the field itself and communications.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So I think that pretty much wraps up this conversation. But folks, we've got a bunch more segments coming out on 10-Minute Mentor, special college edition here. So if you've got a question, I want you to drop it in the comments. All right. If you have been to a networking event, you're a young professional, you've been to a networking event, and you've got a tip or a story that you want to share, you can drop that in the comments as well. But if you have a question, go ahead and drop it in the comments. We're going to be monitoring the chat box there. And hey, if it's a really great question, maybe Ava and I will address it on a future episode of 10-Minute Mentor. Ava, thanks for hanging out with me today, folks.
Yeah.
See you soon. Thanks, and be excellent.